Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the RedBeard Podcast. It is our first episode of the new year, so Happy New Year, guys. It's 2018. First on the docket today, we're going to be talking about what our New Year's resolutions are, followed by the X-Files premiere. The X-Files Season 11, Episode 1 premiere came out last week, so we're going to be talking about that. Also, the Golden Globes were on this past Sunday. A lot of cool stuff happened at the Golden Globes, one being Oprah's very powerful, inspirational speech. So we're going to be talking about what we think on that as far as the new hashtag that has been generated because of that, Oprah for President and Oprah 2020. Also, at the Golden Globes, James Franco won for Best Actor for The Disaster Artist and welcomed Tommy Wiseau up on stage, and a really awkward moment happened. So we're going to be talking about that. So with that being said, stick around.
RedBeard Podcast is brought to you by these cool dudes.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's 2018.
Is it?
It is, man. It's so loud. What's going on, Jim? Happy 2018.
Hello. Yeah, we survived.
Yeah, we did, man. So how are you guys? How are you guys feeling? Everybody good? Are we excited about the new year?
What do you mean? New Year?
Why are you? It makes no sense, bro.
Yeah, why do you sound like a little more educated animal from the Muppets?
What?
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah, it is, bro. So, well, regardless, happy 2018, guys.
You as well.
Glad to be. Thank
you,
you, man.
Cooley.
Glad.
Cooley.
Thank you. Did you call me Cooley?
I missed an O.
All right.
Cooley.
New Year's resolution, less vowels.
Oh man. Well, yeah, man. 2018, New Year, man. Let's do this. This is the first episode of the New Year, guys. So, Ren is not here, but we're gonna do this thing.
Happy New Year, Ren.
Happy New Year, Ren.
Happy New Year, Ren.
So the fact that it is 2018 and it is the new year, it would only be appropriate if we went around the table quickly and talked about what our New Year's resolutions are going to be.
Wait, it's 2018?
Yeah, man, get with it. I'll just, you'll get it on the ride home. So, hey, Jim, what is what is your New Year's resolution, bro?
Less food.
Less food.
Cutting it out. I've got to stop just binging. There are times where I will go to Burger King, and then straight from Burger King, I will go to Taco Bell, and then just lie on my stomach and eat, which you'd think is hard to do.
Yeah.
But I prove it wrong. I'll seriously, though, I got to stop that. I got to stop doing like 45 minutes straight food binges. Two a days.
Jesus, man. All right. Well, that's a good New Year's resolution to have. Cooley, what's your New Year's resolution?
Yo, first of all, I'm going to start going by Cooley.
Cooley?
That's my
All right.
New Year's resolution.
Cool, man.
One of them. I have many. The main resolution that I have, though, is just to be better.
Yeah.
At everything I do.
Okay. So just an overall, just like better. When you say, do you mean more focused? Do you mean more positive? Or like, what do you mean by that?
Number
Just
one,
better.
more positive. I think we have not just individually, but as a group, we have this like weight on our shoulders, man, to make the world a better place.
Right.
It's not going to get better by complaining, and I've noticed just in fucking everyday life, man, I've noticed just tons of complaining about shit that doesn't need to be complained about. And instead of complaining, if we just took a couple of minutes to just make that thing that we're complaining about better
Right.
ourselves, like it doesn't have to be widespread. Just focus on yourself individually and then come together as a group and just make the world a better place, man. Like everybody needs to do it though. It's not just me.
I would also like to say that I am still sticking with the fact that me getting better is just superficial and it's all just outward appearance.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, Cooley, I think that's a good New Year's resolution. I think both of you guys definitely some good stuff. I mean, I'm kind of with you guys. I think my New Year's resolution is, just to be the best version of myself that I can be. I think that means I need to be more focused. I also need to, I think sometimes you get comfortable in the position that you're in. And I think
Doggy.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I think you got to be able to switch it up and keep it interesting. You know what I mean? I think if you don't challenge yourself and you get stuck in that comfortable place, it's just fear. And what is fear? Fear is just this feeling that you have. But once you actually face that and you pass it, you realize there really was nothing to be afraid of. It's just taking a step out of that comfort zone. And I think that's what I need to do. To kind of get to the next place in my life and become a more positive person, and also just become overall more healthy. I don't want to say I'm going to do a complete plant-based diet, but my sister does that. She feels better, so I'm going to definitely be moving towards that. But I'm not going to stop eating meat because that's not me.
It's delicious.
Yeah, right. But that's just being overall more healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's my New Year's resolution. But
I also want to drop the sense of entitlement that I have. I think everybody has this sense of entitlement that everything should be theirs and it belongs to them. I think we've become a planet of seagulls from Finding Dory. Mm-hmm. It's just everything's mine, 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 right?
Right.
And if it's not handed to us, then we're upset about it, or we're pissed off that it's not happening fast enough, or I'm not getting it fast enough, but we're not putting the work into it. So I think just myself personally, at least, I'm gonna dial that back and start putting effort into things, and instead of expecting it to be handed to me. You know what I mean?
Word, man.
I just want to look hot again.
Yeah, dude. I think both of those, all of our New Year's resolutions are possibilities, things that are definitely reachable. So moving into the new year, some new shows have come out. X-Files being one of them. X-Files premiered last week. I believe we've all have watched the first episode, the premiere. Jim, you specifically are a huge diehard X-Files fan. You've watched the season, the entire series, I think 3 times over.
Yes.
So what did you think of the premiere, man?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I thought that it was a much better premiere than last season's 6-episode event premiere was.
Okay.
I really like the storyline. I think that they are they're explaining stuff that should have been explained in the original 9-season episode run, and I think they're finally getting to it and kind of wrapping everything up.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
No,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I think that the 6-episode event last year was a precursor to this, and I think this is really going to be kind of the X-Files.
Yeah, man, I will agree with you. There are some things that I actually, being an X-Files fan, there are some episodes that I haven't watched, but I will tell you that from this premiere, the one thing that did stand out to me that I think I obviously did miss last season was when they revealed that the smoking man was Mulder's father.
Yeah, I didn't see that last season either.
I missed that, I guess, completely.
Well, that was in the original run.
Well, then maybe that's
Yeah,
why. Maybe that's why.
You were meant to believe that he's the father.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But it was confirmed, I guess, or has it been confirmed?
Yes, it has been confirmed before.
Okay. So that was a big thing for me because I wasn't aware of that. And I think the other big thing was the smoking man revealing that he was the father of what we have been thinking was the son of Mulder and Scully.
Yes,
William, and he and obviously we find that he's kind of merged his DNA with alien DNA, which is probably why William has some sort of telepathic ability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's not surprising
Right.
that the smoking man is Will's father genetically. It was shown in previous episodes from the original run that he does have abilities, that he's a little telepathic, that he has some telekinesis, and they actually, Mulder and Scully gave the child up to hide him.
Yeah.
So that people that were looking for him, because they believed that William could bring forth like the alien apocalypse,
Right.
that if they hid him, they'd save the planet. And it was very teary-eyed. But now it looks like they have to find him to actually save the world.
Right. And I'm a big a fan of just the way the episode went down. I think it was well done. I did not watch this week's episode, which I will be watching after this, but it was just such a great way to start it off. And I just don't understand how the smoking man doesn't have lung cancer. So just like he does. He does? Okay.
He's had it in the past. He's supposed to be the most influential, richest man in the world. He has everything at his disposal. He is the man behind every conspiracy.
Yeah.
He is the man in black.
Yep.
And you're just supposed to believe, like suspension of disbelief, that if he has control of all sorts of alien artifacts and DNA, that he's capable of keeping himself alive.
That's what I was thinking. That's probably the only reason why he doesn't is because he's got some kind of,
he clearly looks like shit.
Yeah, he does.
Like,
yeah.
he does not look good. He's got a hole in his throat that he smokes through.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
Scully-
true. Actually, that's true.
Scully over the years has she struck me as a very intelligent woman who kind of does things, after thinking about it, and she's not like impulsive, right?
Like she makes educated decisions.
Yeah,
Always
why did-
has been in the show.
She didn't make any educated decisions in this episode. Like it felt like she was just like, oh, I'm mad dizzy. Let me just go for a drive. Like some of the things that she did were just kind of weird to me.
But I think they were out of desperation.
I also
Yeah.
think that she's running off of a mother's instinct.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it was more desperation. Like, I have to find my son before somebody else does. Like, I know I'm dizzy, but I don't have a choice. And she was even like, Mulder, you have to find him. Like, she was just like, I think she just showed desperation throughout the entire episode. Were they smart decisions? No, but when you're desperate, sometimes you do things without thinking. That's what I think.
Just felt out of character for me.
Moms,
I hear you.
Moms are very reckless.
And
to
I'm not
begin with.
like a deep X-Files like aficionado. Like I'm not like the guy that you're gonna ask about X-Files like if you have questions. But just the episodes that I've seen, this just didn't seem like the same character. It seemed like she was very out of character. Like even if it was desperation, like when she was desperate in the past, even though like this does involve her child, like she would think, and like as a mother, like if your kid is in trouble and you get hurt, how are you gonna help your kid?
Right.
Yeah, I also think that she's been bombarded with premonitions because a lot of the last season, especially the finale, was a premonition.
A premonition, yeah.
And she's bombarded with these premonitions that the world's going to end and that they're already taking steps towards that end, and nobody wants to believe her, and she feels like she's the only person that's going to be able to right the ship.
Right.
And so she's being reckless to the point where she knows that it's dangerous what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
She's endangering the lives of others, but she has no choice.
Right. And I think that's a good point. Where do you think this season is going? Like where would you like to see this season go?
I think it's going to be going exactly where I expect. I think they're going to reunite Mulder and Scully with William. I think you're going to expound upon their relationship. I think in turn that's going to show Mulder and Scully's relationship with each other on a more intimate level, which you never really get to see. And I also think you will see the demise of the smoking man. I truthfully believe that this is probably going to be the final season for the X-Files. I think they're going to wrap it up in this 10-episode span. I would love to see more, but I think this is the final storyline that needs to be told for the X-Files. They're doing that, and I'm not really sure what will come next after this.
I mean, do you think it's the final story of X-Files ever, or just the final story for Mulder and Scully? Like, you think there'll be a passing of the torch? Do you think there'll be, because you had a couple of characters introduced last season that seemed like they were going to be like the next Scully and Mulder
that you didn't see a lot of in this opening episode.
Yeah, they were there for I think one scene,
which makes me wonder if after they made the 6-episode run, viewers and fans basically said, hey, this is what we want to see. We want to see Mulder and Scully. We don't necessarily want to see the new breed. And
which makes sense. Like as a fan, if you're watching their story, you want to see how their story plays out.
yes,
But I mean, if you give Scully and Mulder a good conclusion, right? You give closure to the fans. Fans know what's going on with them. They know the end of their story. Do you think that people would be interested in seeing these other two carry the torch going forward?
I would still watch it. I would give it a shot. I think it's just like Star Wars today. I think there's a chance that they're willing to pass on the X-Files to a new breed, to a new generation. You know, much as Kylo Ren and Rey are now the new Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. These, I don't even, to be honest with you, remember their names. The two new characters that are basically the new Mulder and Scully. I wouldn't mind seeing what they do with it.
Now, this is all Chris Carter, right? Like Chris Carter's.
Oh yeah, no.
So I mean, like
Chris Carter's back. You know.
Yeah.
The one thing that I will say, I'm veering a little off topic. The only thing that I did not like, and it's aesthetic, is David Duchovny looked like absolute shit in the premiere. He looked like, I don't know if he had jaundice or if he had a stroke, but he did not look good. They're just gonna air the second episode. I'm really excited to see if he looks a little better. If maybe he jumped on the treadmill, because he did not look good. It didn't look like he was going to survive another season.
Got you. Supply and demand investing, where not all investments are created equal. Yo, Cooley, you want to play a game of Would You Rather?
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Would you rather invest in JetBlue at 0% or Delta Airlines at 2.44% over the course of 3 years?
Yo, JetBlue seats are mad comfortable. I'm going to go with JetBlue.
All right, guys. So Cooley chose JetBlue. So to check out the results, check out supplyanddemandinvesting.com/RedBeard.
Supply and demand investing is here to offer guidance when it comes to investing. Whether you want to invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or exchange-traded funds, supply and demand investing is here to help.
And unlike the buy and hold method of investing of the past, supply and demand investing is comparative to any good sports team. There are good times to play offense by investing your hard-earned money in things like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, real estate, or international equity. And there are times to play defense by investing in fixed income, higher dividend-paying assets like bonds, CDs, or cash. So check out supplyanddemandinvesting.com/RedBeard. So the Golden Globes actually premiered this past Sunday, and a lot of interesting things happened. One of them actually being that there was a really big, powerful speech made by Oprah Winfrey when she got the Cecil DeMille Award. What do you guys think about that speech? Because I know that you have both watched it, and you guys actually just saw that like fresh today. Like, what did you think about that? What were your overall feelings about that?
I think she was pretty friggin' amazing. just in what she said, and I think, I think she definitely made a lot of like men in the audience nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I think as the camera panned across the people listening to her, I mean, like there were definitely some guys that were like nodding, and you could tell that they were like, they were really cool with what she was saying, and then there were some guys that were just like, ah, shit.
Right. Yeah. I think that she purposefully is doing that to let people know that. I mean, like, this is
your time is up.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those speeches where after watching it, like, I might sound selfish, but it's like the whole sexual harassment, sexual assault feels like is almost becoming like the norm in the news. You know what I mean? And it was kind of seemed like it was maybe starting to calm down, but this just is just almost more of a realization to me that it's probably just the beginning. You know, there are a lot of victims out there that haven't said anything, and I think her speech is empowering a lot of women to actually come forward and take that stand. You know what I mean? But I mean, overall, I just felt like her speech was super powerful, and I agree with you. It made like a ton of guys nervous.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were like, hell yeah. You know, like they were with her. And what I liked about that is that she didn't just single out, men as being, the bad guys. She actually made a statement at the end that it was going to be, this movement of positivity that comes forward, and the Time Is Up movement is going to be because of some extraordinary women and some phenomenal men that take a stand. And I thought that was really cool that she said that.
So something that I felt during this speech, and something that I hope that this kind of rings true with a lot of people. Like, she said something that was more general than just for women. It was just she said, "Speak your truth," right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that, because this is something that's been bothering me throughout this whole ordeal. Like, not to diminish or take away from anything that is being done in this particular issue with sexual harassment in women, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of men, women of different cultures that are harassed in the workplace on a regular basis and just eat it because of the same reasons that she was saying. Like, these are people that need to, they need to keep their jobs. They can't really afford to lose the job, so they just accept whatever is being thrown at them. I fortunately am not one of them currently, but I've been in that position plenty of times. What about these folks that aren't necessarily sexually harassed but have other types of harassment? Why is this not influencing or encouraging them or empowering them to come forward?
So you're talking about racial harassment,
racial or anything else. I mean, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be racial. It can be maybe there's a specific handicap or disability or whatever that somebody's being harassed over, or maybe there's just like, quote unquote bullying, which I don't really like the word bullying because it just makes it sound like, it's a stronger person, like, taking advantage of a weaker person, because there's nobody really you're not really weak. You're just, you may be different. And, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
I get what you're saying. Totally, I agree with you.
There's all types of harassment, and to just focus on one thing and it is funny to me because, like, somebody came forward and they were harassed but now only that type of harassment is being focused on. Like, there's all types of harassment, and there's cyberbullying, and there's all kinds of and they focused on cyberbullying for a while, but there's everything. Everything is in play here. Mm-hmm. And we just need to correct the behavior of somebody in a position of power taking advantage of somebody who's not.
Got you.
Well, let's hope that what Oprah Winfrey said last night, or the other night, let's hope that what Oprah Winfrey said is now going to open that up to other people.
Right.
I think more than any other time period, celebrities are like the new activists. They have the biggest platform to be heard over almost everybody else today in this age, including politicians. And people will listen because they're the celebrities. They're the people that we now look to as the icons of our day and age. And a lot of people shun that. All they want to see is their celebrities flying spaceships and walking away from explosions on TV and the movies. But in reality, they are the ones that can stick up for the average person, for the person that doesn't have a voice. And it's excellent to see someone like Oprah, who really is kind of the upper echelon of Hollywood society, being able to voice her opinion. And Lord knows she is going to be heard across the country.
Yeah, and she was, which is why this, was started, this whole Oprah for President, Oprah 2020 hashtag. I mean, everybody is seriously like edging her to consider running for president. And she has not expressed an interest in running for president, but the media approached Stedman and asked him, like, Oprah should run for president. What do you think? And he said it would be up to the people. And from what everybody is gathering, that's probably something that Oprah kind of gave him clearance to say if he was asked, because she hasn't said yes or no yet. Yeah. But I think the more people, can get inspired by her and want her to run, maybe she will. Who knows?
I can tell her right now, without ever knowing what her platform would be, if she did run for president, she would win by landfall.
Oh, yeah, she would win.
It wouldn't even be close. She would easily, instantly be our first female president.
Oh, yeah, and I think it's very possible in the future if she was to run. So, hopefully she does.
I would vote for her.
So would I. I mean, I'll just say that right now. I would.
Yeah, I mean, like I just knowing the type of person that she is.
Yeah.
And just knowing her from the many, many years of her being on television and watching her show, and then that evolving into the OWN or Oprah Winfrey Network. Mm-hmm. And her interviews and everything that I've seen her do. We subscribe to her magazine. My wife and her share the same birthday. And so like Court like loves her. So like, I mean, of course, like I kind of go along for the ride, and there's nothing I can say about her. I mean, she's almost the perfect candidate. Like she's a great leader. I mean, I don't understand like why she hasn't done it yet.
How awesome would it be for her to be in the Oval Office and just to go, you get health care and you get health care. Everybody gets free health care.
That would be awesome. I mean, dude, like if you think about it, like if you look back, like if it wasn't for her, Obama wouldn't have been the first black president.
Yeah, she had a lot to do with it. So
she had a ton to do with it.
Yeah.
Like he was on her show like all the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that she helped him means that she would need no help.
No help at all.
You know what I mean? So, well, with that being said, I mean, let's see what this Oprah Winfrey speech brings. I mean, it's already brought in a lot of positivity for a lot of people. It inspired a lot of people. So I think there's only more stuff to come because of it. Also, in the midst of this happening and her making this amazing speech, I think it was about maybe less than 24 to 48 hours later, it was in the news that Stan Lee, the father of Marvel, was accused of sexual harassment by many of the people that take care of him in medical ways at his house over the years, and multiple of women have come out and said that he's kind of like grabbed them while they were, in his house, and that, he basically proposed like oral sex in the shower and all this really weird stuff. His lawyers and everybody are coming forward saying that like he denies any accusations, and he honestly believes that these women are doing it just for a cash grab. And they're really, his lawyers expressed, and he expressed, his lawyers more than anything, that they are doing everything they can to make sure that these accusations are proved false, because they don't want his reputation to be tarnished. Because at this point, it really seems like nothing but a cash grab, and the like nothing was ever filed. Like nobody ever filed any kind of charges. Not to say that it maybe did not happen. I'm just saying no charges were filed. And also the company that takes care of these women or possibly male nurses as well that go into these homes and take care of people never heard of any accusations from the women that worked for him. So they didn't really have a comment, only to say that they are not trying to get any money out of Stan Lee, and this is all on these women themselves that have gone forward, and it's not the company coming forward.
Right.
So that's all that I know. I can only say that I find it a little hard to believe, but if I say it's hard to believe, there might be people out there that say I'm wrong for saying that because I don't have any proof either way. So I just personally don't see it, but that's just me.
My thoughts on this, and I don't want to be insensitive to sexual assault because that is a problem, clearly. The guy's in his mid-90s. I feel like this is a non-issue. I feel like this may be the ramblings of a senile man. Mm-hmm. And maybe you really shouldn't, if things were said, it's just an old guy. Mm-hmm. Before my grandmother passed away, she was in her mid-90s, and she said some fucking strange things to me. Mm-hmm. And it's just that's what happens in the latter stages of life, I feel. That when it's towards the end, your mind doesn't work the same way. Things slip.
Right. And it's just like everything else in your body. I mean, if you look at Stan Lee or anybody in their 90s, like they're not robust young men. Like they're like your muscles are atrophied. Like everything is just like going. Everything is going. Everything like your internal organs are starting to fail, and so your brain obviously is not going to be its sharpest. I've listened to a very recent, like as of last year, I went to a Stan Lee panel, and he's very witty, but you can tell a lot of his stories are recycled. It's stuff that he said over and over and over again. So there's not really a whole lot of like, man, I got to think about what I'm going to say, or I got to come up with this on the fly. Like a lot of this stuff is already just ingrained in his brain. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So on his day-to-day just living, like you could also tell during that when he was hit with something that he had never been asked before, it took him a while. Yeah. So okay. he's like you said, I mean, like he's an older man. Things are starting to slow down, and the dirty old man, right? That stigma is not just a stereotype. I mean, like you said, like you've got what was it, your aunt you said, or your grandmother, or
that was his grandmother.
Oh, your grandmother. Yeah.
Beautiful person.
Yeah,
she was
awesome, amazing person. I'm not trying to tarnish any of her legacy.
My mom, right? She didn't say anything like sexual or offbeat, like, but she was like, you get to a point when you're at a later age in life or a later stage that you just stop giving a fuck. Right. Because you've given a fuck all your life, and to give a fuck takes effort. Right? Yeah. It does. Like I have to put effort into giving a shit about a lot of the things that I see out there, or how I talk around people. That takes effort. And when you get to 95 fucking years old, yo, that effort just like, fuck it, man. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, I'm on my way out the door. That shit, I'm gone tomorrow, maybe. I'm not worried about how I talk around you. Yeah. Right? I'm Stan fucking Lee. Right? But that doesn't excuse like, being like overly sexually harassing or whatever like that. But I mean, like, he might give somebody a pat on the ass. Mm-hmm. People do that shit all the time in sports. You don't see them complaining.
How many times have you heard of that sort of stuff happening in an old folks' home? Like how many movies have you watched? And obviously, maybe this is romanticizing it a little bit. Yeah. But how many times in an old folks' home does a guy say something off color and then slap the nurse's butt? And it's just that's the stereotype.
Yeah, but they don't have money.
Yeah. I mean, well,
that puts a really big.
That's a difference.
Crinkle.
There's a big difference.
Yeah,
Those people don't have money, but when that nurse walks away, they go, "Oh God, Charlie did that shit again," right? But like they're not like worried that Charlie's gonna sexually assault them or rape them
then
or
sweep it under the
like. So
rug.
they're I mean, I'm not excusing the behavior, but there is an excuse for the behavior. Like you understand what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, if he is doing it as a senile old man, then it's him being a senile old man, and it doesn't excuse the behavior, but I feel like it's being taken a little bit more seriously, and they're going after him because they want something for it, like the behavior, the money.
I used to work for Judge Rotenberg Center, right? And these were, mentally disabled people that I was working with. Many different levels. They were high functioning, they were low functioning, but they were violent in a sense, right? But when they acted out and they had their episodes, and I had to restrain them, or I had to do something to kind of calm them down, there was never a moment where I was like, this motherfucker, I can't believe, right? Like, there are things that people can't help. Mm-hmm. And if you sign on as a caretaker, right? Mm-hmm. If you're taking care of somebody and you're signing on as a caretaker for somebody who's either mentally challenged or is getting up there in age to a point where you got to expect certain things like this, you need to put some things aside and just do your fucking job, right? And if you're not capable of doing that, then this isn't the job for you, right? So you can't expect people that can't change those behaviors to make the changes. You have to make the changes.
Right.
Right? You have to put it in your court.
Right. And I think, there is some truth to that. And like I said, I mean, from what I've read and what's being put out there by the media about this situation, it doesn't seem like he did what was said. It seems a little far-fetched. That's all that I can say from the information that I have given. I wasn't there, but that's my theory.
And I don't think he did.
Yeah.
Let's get that clear too. I'm just saying, if he did, I don't think it was anything super egregious. I think it was just most likely harmless old man stuff.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Harmless old man stuff.
I agree with you.
And this is the last thing I'll say about this. Your timeline on this earth, when you're born, you're a child, you're learning, you get this education and this experience, and you get to a certain age where all of that stuff, and you grow and you become a man, and then you get to a certain age and all of that stuff just starts going backwards.
Yeah.
And by the time you're ready to die, you're almost like a child again. You know what I mean? And that's not, if you get Alzheimer's, it's accelerated and so on and so forth. But you need people to take care of you again. And you need to, there are things that you need to relearn how to do. And everything just becomes frustrating. So there's, you correct people.
Right.
You don't accuse them of being malicious, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, man. I think I don't really think this is going to be an issue. I think he'll walk away with this with fine. I really think it's a little far-fetched in my opinion. But in conclusion of this week's episode, there is one other thing that I just want to kind of talk about because it's so damn funny, man. It was another Golden Globes moment where James Franco won for Best Actor for The Disaster Artist, and he called Tommy Wiseau up on stage, who is actually the guy who filmed, directed, financed, produced, acted in the film The Room that The Disaster Artist is based on. And Tommy Wiseau is such an interesting enigma of a person. We don't really know too much about him still. And neither does Seth Rogen and James Franco. There's certain things about them they can't get out of him, like how old he is, where he's actually from. Like he won't tell anybody. But we believe he's from Europe. He says he's from New Orleans, but you don't have an accent like that when you come from New Orleans. But whatever.
You don't have an accent like that when you come from Europe. I mean, like,
so
I think he comes from outer space.
Yeah, probably. But he basically came up on stage, with his long hair, sunglasses, like rock star belt going around his like leg and thigh. He's got a wallet chain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he
complete 90s
yeah
preferred stock cologne.
So he walks up and James Franco just says I want to thank Tommy Wiseau, the man that this is based on. He's like, and he starts to do his speech and he gives him a hug, and then Tommy Wiseau goes in to say something and James Franco goes, whoa, and like pushes him to the side. There were a couple of things that I was wondering, like, because for me when I saw that I was like, oh, like was that in bad taste? Because I was one was like, this is my initial thought. I was like, maybe he just wanted to say thank you and he kind of pushed him aside. Then I watched some interviews with him after and like kind of got an idea of like what his speech pattern is and like how he answers questions. And I'm sure that James Franco is very aware of that. So I think that's why he was like, wait a second, I got to do my speech because I just won Best Actor. And it wasn't really about him. So I think that's in retrospect, that's why he did that. But when I saw it first happen, like it was very funny and a lot of people did laugh.
But even Tommy Wiseau was like laughing.
Yeah, he did laugh because I think he knew.
He knew he was about to step into some shit and he just saved him. And he was just like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And even his brother, is it Dave Franco? Was started laughing. Like a lot of people were laughing.
Like if Tommy Wiseau was like upset, yeah, I would say that was in bad taste. But he wasn't. He wasn't.
I actually saw an interview with him that he did like the next day, and they replayed that scene, and they asked him what he was going to say, and he was like, "I just wanted to say that I think The Room is a good film, and that everybody should see it, and I thank everybody for their support." Like, that's what he wanted to say, but it was like...
But are we sure that's what he wanted to say?
But I feel like he's had some time to think about that, whereas, like, in the moment, he actually admitted he wasn't sure if he was going to be called up on stage, so when he came up on stage, he probably would have winged it. And I've seen him answer questions where like it's a very simple answer that he could give, but he just goes off on a tangent, and the answer to what they asked him never really comes forth. So I feel like he could have went on, and it would have ruined that whole moment for James Franco.
And I think everybody on stage
knew
that. I think James Franco called him on stage because he wanted him to, be front and center with him to kind of share the spotlight.
And he said that. He goes, I wanted to share this moment with him.
And that's exactly what he did. But if you notice, Tommy Wiseau, there wasn't like, James Franco wasn't like, hey, say thank you. Wiseau beelined right for that microphone. And I think James Franco instantly was like, no, bad idea.
Yeah.
I think we all know, like, I play you. I've been around you. I know that I can't let you anywhere near this microphone. And I think the audience and I think the people that were up on stage with him, including Dave Franco, knew right away, bad idea.
Well,
just take a bow.
And if you've seen I think a lot of people in Hollywood or in that area, The Room plays, I think, like weekly at different theaters. Like it still plays because it is reveled as like the best worst movie ever. So they still play it because it's this weird cult following, like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Troll too.
So yeah, so they constantly go to see this. So everybody, I think, is familiar with it, has seen it, and has seen the disaster artist and knows what type of a person he is. So that's why they laughed when he pushed him away. But I just thought that was a great moment. So.
Yeah, that was funny. It was great. Like, I mean, like I couldn't stop laughing for like a few minutes anyway. Do you think, like, how difficult is it to impersonate
a real
Tommy
person?
Wiseau?
I don't think it's that hard. I think because I think he has a very specific way of talking. Like after hearing,
no. So talking, like the pattern.
Yeah,
it's not what I'm talking about. Like impersonating him to the point where you can get like his thought pattern Because like
Well,
he
yeah.
is he's so fucking random.
Well, that's the thing, but I also have whenever like I've done an impersonation, like I have to get the person's rhythm down first because their rhythm also affects the way my mind works. So like I feel like him getting his voice down is a big part of it, but like he's done stuff on like Kimmel and like whatever where they'll tell him that his impression of Tommy Wiseau is great and he'll just start saying stuff and it's really funny because he has him down and he spent time with the guy.
Right.
You know, like a lot of people don't have that ability to like impersonate somebody and spend time with the person. Like he spent time with them and knows like how his brain works.
Yeah, the brain is what I'm talking about. Because like when you listen to him talk,
Yeah.
like he says shit, like puts words together that just don't
work.
belong.
Yeah, they don't.
in the same sentence. Like, but he makes it so that I don't even want to say he makes it work because I don't even know if that's really a thing. But you understand what he's getting across
Yeah.
in a way.
And I just want to say one thing about this guy. I gotta give him props, right? Because he wasn't a big actor or wasn't famous, and he just wanted to be famous, but he got famous by doing everything wrong and still got there. Like what a baller! Like you know what I mean? He's like made more money than he ever has before for doing everything the wrong way. Like it's amazing. Like it really is genius. Like he did something so awful that he's getting fucking residuals on it.
Somebody made a movie about him.
Yeah.
About how bad it was. Like what a baller.
Now more than anything, with the Disaster Artist, it has pushed Tommy Wiseau to the forefront of popular culture.
And he's actually he's making 2 more films, and one of the films that's coming out called I think it's called Best Friend. One of the guys from Imagine Dragons did the music for it. Like I'm just saying, like what are the odds, man? Like, and he's not any better as an actor in this. It's so weird. I'll have to show you the trailer.
Why is it only one of the guys though? Like, did the rest of the guys say fuck this?
Well, I think so, but I think it was just like they needed somebody to do the
They
music
just need
and
the voice.
Yeah,
I bet you it's the main guy.
Yeah, it's just funny, man. I mean, and I think that after seeing The Disaster Artist and it being like a cult following and them thinking this guy is so bad he's funny, they're like, yeah, I'll do the music for your next film because I know it's going to get play. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I just thought that was a awesome moment at the Globes.
Do you think he's a one-trick pony, though? Do you think these other films are going to do anything for him, or...
I don't know. I mean,
Probably not.
Probably not. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, it's all up to people are definitely going to see the movie is going to make him money.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it's going to be. Is he's capitalizing on his 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, because like I mean, here's the thing. Like I mean, when he makes these movies, does he try to intentionally make them bad, or does he put as much effort into it as he did with the other one?
I think he's trying to actually make them. He's trying to make them better. Because he like directed the Room, where he has a director and all these other people like funding his next movie. So I think mistakes that were made in the first movie are going to be fixed in this one, and you can already see. I mean, the green screen is still awful, but you can still see that like the acting is minorly improved and like the lighting is different and stuff like that. But I mean, in the sound too. But overall, it looks like something I'll watch, but it's probably also going to be awful. So, but anyway, so Jim, you got any final thoughts? You're just looking at me like you had something to say. I don't know.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year, guys. Happy 2018.
2018!
Stupid. All right, guys. We will see you guys next week and later.
Be good to each other.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the RedBeard Podcast. And remember, please make sure to like us on our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes to make sure you get all of our latest videos and episodes. And you can always find us and comment on anything we've talked about or what you'd like to hear at redbeardpodcast.com.